Hey everyone, welcome to Activity 2.3 Financial Literacy. This assignment, it's a big assignment, but it's also one of the most, if not the most important assignments in Planning 10. At the end of the course, you're asked to do a course feedback, and many students say that this was the assignment that they got the most out of. So let's get into it. The first thing that we're going to look at in Activity 2.3 is the resource pages. So the budgeting, banking, debit and credits, and taxes. Now we're going to just click on that first one because it'll give you access to all the other ones just like usual. And if you look at the table of contents, they're all up here as well. So budgeting, we're going to get more into later. You don't really need to look at this page because it goes into detail about budgeting in the actual assignment. This page, banking, it talks about fairly simplistic things about banking, day-to-day banking. What's the difference in different banks like chartered banks, trust companies, credit unions, things like that. It teaches you how to write a check if you don't already know how to do that, and how to read your bank statements, which is very important. And then it talks a little bit about savings, which is an important topic. So saving just 35 cents a day can net you $125 in a year, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's just 35 cents a day. Imagine if you did more. It talks about TFSAs, tax-free savings accounts, term deposits, guaranteed investment certificates, these kind of things that you're like, oh, well, I'll learn about that later. Now's the time to learn about it. So this is a very important page. This next page talks about debit and credit. What's a debit card? What's a credit card? How much do credit cards cost? What's the annual fees of a credit card? What about the interest that I pay for everything that I buy on the credit card? And it talks about, and it has this link to the credit card calculator. So if you took cost of credit, it shows you basically how much credit actually costs you. And you do, like, credit cards are a very, very powerful tool that can really help you, but they can also really bog you down in debt if you're not careful. And debt is this kind of century's almost form of slavery. So you really have to be very careful with respect to credit because you can get yourself into a huge amount of trouble. So the next page teaches you all about taxes. Now, again, if you haven't learned about taxes, I'll learn about it later, you're saying, this is the time to learn about it. Make sure that you go through and read this whole page. It's absolutely excellent. Click on the links, go to the websites, and just learn all about it. So those are the resource pages that you need to read before you're actually doing the assignment. Now we're going to click on the actual assignment 2.3. We're going to go into it. And we get this for this assignment. You'll be creating your own sample budget. This is a really powerful tool, and I really feel like it's going to open a lot of eyes when you actually do your budget. So what we're going to do is we're going to click and we're going to open this. Make sure you open it in a new tab because you're going to be going back and forth through this a lot. So I'm going to open this in a new tab. This is our budget calculator. We're going to add things into every single one of these boxes. We're going to go over, and I'm going to get back to this in a second. The next thing that you need to click on is this sample budget. And what this sample budget does is it's going to open up a whole new workbook or a whole new resource booklet. And this is where we're really going to get into the actual budget calculations. All right, the first page of this assignment is your income. So what we're going to look at first is we're going to, again, we already opened up the budget and we put it in a new tab. We're going to look at our income. So generally, how I'm going to do this for the whole budget is I'm going to assume that you've graduated and that you have a 40-hour a week minimum wage job, which is $10.25 an hour in British Columbia. And I'm going to assume that your parents aren't supporting you at all in anything, just to kind of get that realistic perspective of what it actually costs for your specific lifestyle. And I suggest that you do the same thing. I feel that you get the most out of the assignment and the exercise if you do that. So minimum wage job in BC is $10.25 an hour, 40-hour work week. You get $820 every 2 weeks. Federal government takes 15% of that with taxes income under $44,000. So this leaves you with $697 every 2 weeks for a full-time minimum wage job. So now that you know that, you're going to go to your budget calculator, and this category is the income category. Your take-home pay is going to be $697, and we're going to assume that you don't have a spouse yet, so your spouse's take-home pay is going to be irrelevant. Your business, maybe you don't have one, you're working a minimum wage job, so you won't have that. Interest earning on investments, we don't have any investments yet, so we're going to put that as 0. Rental properties, I doubt that we own a home and we're renting it out, so we don't have that income. Retirement income, definitely not. Child support income, hopefully not. Social assistance. Social assistance you could put here if you have an exceptionality. For example, my brother-in-law, he has Asperger's and he gets some social assistance from the government. So you could put that in there. Your student loan, money received. This one you may have. So student loan is about $5,000 to $8,000 roughly a year. And you could put that as a year there as well. Remember, you can change these boxes and just put in that amount there if you're deciding on taking a student loan. I'm not going to put anything in there because, again, I'm assuming that we're just graduating high school and we have a minimum wage full-time job. Universal child care benefit is something that you get from the government if you have children. Hopefully we don't have children yet, so we're not going to put that there. Allowance, maybe your parents will give you an allowance every couple weeks, maybe a month. Again, I'm going to assume that there's going to be no parental assistance in this one, so I'm going to leave that at 0. And any other possible income, maybe babysitting income or something like that you could put in if you wanted to put that in there. So that's your income. When you're done that, you just hit next. So coming back to the Planning 10 financial literacy books, you have your income here, and we finished that, so we're going to go on to the next tab, which is your savings. So it is really important to start saving as soon as possible because of compound interest and things like that you can earn. So it is important to put in some savings, especially for regular savings or emergency funds. There is a lot of people even do as much as 50% of every paycheck goes into savings. So you don't have to put too much in here, but maybe you're saving something like $20 a month even. It's not so bad. So and that will even add up. So you're putting regular savings $20 a month in, and maybe your emergency fund is also $20 a month. So these are things that you can put in. A tax-free savings account, maybe those regular savings, rather than up here, you're going to put them into a TFSA, which is an excellent way to save money, but you won't have access to that money. So, and you do earn interest on it as well, which is pretty awesome. Retirement savings, this might be a good time to actually start retirement savings or a registered education saving plan. Maybe, like for example, I just had a baby girl. I would now start putting things in for her RESP. Non-registered investments, GICs, mutual funds, things like that. Maybe you have a stock portfolio and you're putting in a certain amount every month. You would put that in there. Or other investments, maybe your cousin invented some kind of crazy gadget and you've decided to invest in this company. And remember, you can put this by year, month, day, doesn't matter. When you're finished your total savings, hit next. Okay, the next section of our budget is going to be the housing section. So what our workbook here says is to browse through Kijiji Kamloops and see the approximate cost of rentals in Kamloops, but I've actually found this way better link for it, and it's called the cost of living in Kamloops, and you can go to numbeo.com, cost of living, and select Kamloops. And what it looks at is it says rent per month, and this is the average. One bedroom in the city center is about $950 a month, and this is living on your own. without roommates. So an apartment is 1 bedroom outside of the city is about $808.33 a month. So we're going to actually take that number, and then I'm going to go to my budget calculator, and I'm going to put it in for my rent, $808.33. Now, if you have some roommates, you could possibly share that expense, but for the moment, we're going to put that as $808.33. Now, what is really kind of interesting is that's 53.5% of my total budget is rent, which is unfortunately pretty normal. Like, rent is pretty expensive. We're not going to go the mortgage payment, property tax, home insurance, and condo fee route. That's only if you own your own home, which, unless you're really lucky, you probably won't at this time in life. Some repairs that we're talking about, painting and decorating. I put it about $100 a year. This is things like Christmas decorations, Halloween decorations. Maybe you want to paint your room. Things that your landlord typically won't cover. Plumbing, electrical, home improvements, appliances. All of these things your landlord should cover for you, and you should talk to your landlord if you have any of those expenses. Gardening, landscaping. I like to put in a garden every year. I feel it's important to be able to grow your own garden and grow your own food. And I generally spend about $100 a year, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, for that gardening. And that's something that your landlord won't cover. Household services. This is something like a maid that comes in, maybe a nanny, things like that. So we're going to keep that at zero. We're going to do all of our own household services. And then any others that you can think of, you would put in there. Purchases. Generally, apartments are not furnished. So you need to put in your own furniture. And at the beginning, when you first move out, obviously that's going to be fairly expensive. But as time goes on, you will accumulate your own furniture and bring it with you as you move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it at about $150 a year, and you can always look at Craigslist and Kijiji and find some ridiculous deals on furniture that people are basically just giving away because they're getting new stuff. So $150 a year is light, but it's also possible and doable. And the same thing with appliances. $150 a year. You're buying things like TVs, computers, stuff like that, blenders. So it's about $150 a year, and again, that's light but doable. And house contents, other things like lamps, extension cords, all those kind of things that you need and you don't really think about until you don't have them. It's about $100 a year, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Now, utilities are where things get a little bit more difficult, because you probably have never paid a utility bill before. Your parents probably pay it for you. So we're going to again go into the cost of living in Kamloops, and we're going to look, and we're going to see utilities monthly. And so basic electricity, heating, water, garbage, all of these things are about $83.43 a month for an individual. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that $83.43 and we're going to divide it by 3. So calculator, 83.43, and we're going to divide that by 3. And we end up getting $27.81. So we're going to put $27.81 into these 3 categories. So $27.81 into those 3 categories. Now, telephone bill. Again, you can look here and we can see that a telephone mobile, it's dependent. I guess it's not actually on this list, but for myself, I pay about $80 a month for my telephone or my mobile. So I'm going to put that in there. Cable or satellite, Netflix. This is where you put that in, right? So that's about $10 a month now. Is that what Netflix costs? And then you have the internet, and the internet in Kamloops on average is about $67 a month. So there we would put $67. You could do a combined telephone, internet, TV, etc. package here. That's down there, and those are generally fairly expensive. So again, it's up to you, but we're just kind of going for the basics here. So we just finished talking about housing costs, utilities, things like that, and we're just going to click the next button over. And we're now getting into spending, so life and health insurance, food, and transportation. So we're going to go back to our workbook, and we're going to see that spending, we're going to start talking about health insurance. Now, health insurance is generally $69 a month for individuals on average in the province. But if you look at the premiums page, so this is the one I've already opened, it's up here. It says one person pays $0 if they're making under $22,000 a month or a year, and we are making $18,000 a year working full-time for minimum wage. So we're going to pay nothing for our medical. So make sure that you just keep that at $0. Maybe we don't have life insurance, but generally life insurance is a good thing to have, and it's about $20 a month on average. So your spouse's partner's life insurance, well, we're not going to worry about that because we're just talking about the individual. Maybe any disability insurance, your spouse partner's disability insurance, and any other insurances that you may have. Then we're going to go into food next. And on average, now it depends on if you're a boy or a girl in this particular instance, but on average, a good baseline for food is about $50 a week. If you're a little bit wasteful, or if you buy higher quality ingredients, maybe you shop at Nature's Fair, things like that, you can basically double that. Even if you're lazy about planning your meals, you can double that number. Really, like, to get the $50 a week, that's bargain hunting, and you're really looking for deals on your food, and you're cooking every single meal. So for me, my groceries, I would say I would put it at about $75 a week, and that's pretty reasonable. Work lunches, maybe you're buying them, takeout orders. I generally purchase pizza once a month, so I'm going to put that, and that costs about $21-ish, $23 I think. So I'm going to put that in there. Others, daily coffee purchases. Maybe you're buying that coffee every day. I buy a coffee once a week, so I'm going to put that in there, that I buy a coffee once a week. So those are my food purchases. Now I'm going to get into transportation costs. So vehicle license and registration, on average, let's see, it is, I guess it doesn't have it here. But on average, if we go back to here and we use this quick vehicle transportation tool, which is how much you expect to pay in a year, we can open that up, and it shows exactly what we're going to pay. So we're going to know our costs. Oh, we have to agree to the terms. We're going to know our costs. So let's say you just have a mid-sized car. Next, total cost per kilometer, about $52,000. Our fuel is going to be $2,086 a year. Our insurance is about $1,500 for the year. Make sure that when you're putting it in your budget, that you do change it to year, right? And vehicle license and registration is $43 for the year. So we have to put that there. And gas for the year, we said it's at $2,086. So we're going to put that in there. And depreciation and maintenance. A lot of people don't realize that every year you have to calculate the depreciation of your vehicle because it will lose money. So because after you bought it, every year it goes down in cost. But I don't think we're going to put in depreciation and maintenance because that's a seriously large number. But maintenance for per year is, with tires and everything else, we're just going to say it's about $1,000 for the year. And gas is obviously for the year as well. So next, our vehicle loan lease payment. Maybe you've taken out a loan for your vehicle, and that could be anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month, depending on that. But we're just going to say that we bought our vehicle outright and we own our vehicle. Parking at the university costs about $250 a term. So we're going to put $250, and we're going to put every 6 months. Transit pass, bus or train. If you're a university student, generally that's free. So we're not going to put that in there. But if you want one, your transportation monthly pass is about $56 in Kamloops. But we did the vehicle instead. Taxi fare, we're going to put at 0, and any others we're also going to put at 0. So we're going to go next. Now the next part of our budget is other expenses. So assume your expenses do not include daycare, school expenses, or debt repayment or anything like that. So we're going to go back to our budget calculator. We're going to ignore daycare. We're going to ignore after-school holiday care. We're going to ignore babysitting, child support, child allowance. All of those things we're going to ignore for now. Education and professional development, so school expenses. Let's say we're going to university. So on average, what is our university expenses? So you would put that in their tuition for the year. So tuition on average for the year is about $6,000. Textbooks and stationaries, really depends. A lot of students make the mistake of buying every single textbook right away when they get to university. A lot of them can be found online for free or through other sources. Students that have previously taken the courses, older editions are way cheaper, but it's generally about it's supposed to be about $500 a term, but you can get away with about $150 a term if you're good at what you do. Ask older students how to do this, and do not make the mistake of buying all your books right away. And that's, again, semi-annually because there's 2 terms in the year. School trips, we're going to leave blank for the moment. Professional or association dues. Teachers pay professional dues every year. When I was a ski instructor, I had to pay professional dues every year. Things like that you put in there, but for that we're going to leave blank, and any others. Remember, I'm just doing this as a general person. You could do it as whatever you think you have. So maybe you have professional dues, so you would put that in there. Debt repayment, student loans, we're going to pretend that we haven't graduated yet. Credit cards, line of credits, all this kind of stuff, we're just going to leave blank, and you're going to hit next. Okay, the next part of this assignment is keeping up appearances. So this is your entertainment expenses. So your social life, restaurants, nightclubs, club memberships, activities, sporting events, movies, things like that. So really, this is where you're going to deviate from me a lot. So for example, me and my wife like to go out about once a week to a restaurant. So if you go to the cost of living, the restaurants, an inexpensive restaurant is going to be about $20 to go out. So would it be $20 a week? Maybe. I would probably put it a little bit more, like $30 with tip, and that's going to be per week. My nightlife, bars, cafes, I don't do that anymore, but again, you're going to university, you may want to put some money in there. Club memberships, gym pass is about $50 a month. Children's activities, tickets for sporting events, plays, and concerts, you generally go to maybe one sporting event, play concert per year, and it's about $150 around there, maybe. Well, let's put $100 for those sporting events or plays or concerts. Outdoor recreation, camping, skiing. I generally go. I generally buy that a ski pass for the year, but to go up to Sun Peaks, you go once, maybe twice a year, and that's going to be about $200. And then you think things like camping and stuff like that, it could be even more. So again, that's for the year. Sports gear, hockey equipment. The hockey equipment is kind of the one-time expense. I play hockey, but I do go through about a stick a year, and sticks are about $150. So sports gear for $150 a year. That could be on the light side. It could be on the heavy side for you. Again, it's up to you. Hobbies, stamp collection, musical instruments, those wonderful phone games that you play with those microtransactions and things like that. It's about, I would say, on average, it's about $20 a month. Movies, going out to a movie in Kamloops. Let's look. Let's see. Cinema is about $12.50. So let's put that there, $12.50. And maybe you go to one movie every 2 months, maybe. Newspapers, magazines, books. I generally buy a book a month. It's about $20. Alcohol. This one can be more expensive, especially for university students. I would put about $40 a month realistically. Realistically, it's probably more than that for the average university students. Tobacco, cigarettes, if you smoke. I don't smoke, so I have no idea what they cost. And then others. Holiday, vacations, travel insurance, others. We're not going to put that on there because obviously with the $18,000 a year, we cannot afford to go on holiday. So I'm going to hit the next button. So the next section for this budget calculator is actually spending kind of continued. So it's the same page on our workbook over here with clothing necessities, dental, medical, and other expenses. And if we kind of go through it, it's fairly straightforward. Adults' clothes, I generally spend about $200 a year. If you really like clothing, maybe you'll spend more. If you shop at a secondhand store, you could save a lot of money in this particular area. Generally, most of my clothing comes from Christmas presents and things like that. So again, it's up to you. Accessories, things like watches, jewelry, necklaces, earrings, whichever. I put about $100 for the year. Is pretty reasonable as well. Laundry, if you do your own laundry at home, I left this one blank because you don't have to worry about spending it. But if you need to go to a laundromat, maybe this costs you more money. I've actually forgot about shoes here. So shoes are actually going to run you about another $100 for the year. So I'm going to put that up to $300. Personal care, total personal care, grooming, cosmetics. You got that hair gel that's just you have to have. It's super expensive, but it makes your hair perfect every day. So maybe that adds up. Toothpaste, deodorant, all those kind of things. It's about $50 a month. Hairdresser, it's about $25 for men every 2 months to get your hair cut. For women, it's significantly more, so make sure that you're putting that in there. And any other expenses that you can think of that you may have to pay per month there. Doctor every year, generally everything's covered in the medical service plan of BC, but maybe you need to see an eye doctor or a specialist or something like that, you would put that in. Generally, I have to see one once a year, and it costs about $90 to go see that eye care specialist because I wear contacts. Prescriptions and medicines, so any antibiotics if you get sick, Tylenol, Advil, cough medicine, those kind of things. And then the dentist is about $100 each visit, and you generally go about once or twice a year for those cleanings, and that's about $200 for the year. And then others, here I put $300 for me because I have to buy contacts every year, and they can be pretty expensive. It's something that most people could put at zero. Banking fees, generally, they're about $10 a month. There is such a thing as student accounts, which are free, but remember, transactions can add up. Mobile phone, we put in a different section, so I've left it blank here, but if you didn't put it in the previous section and you want to put it in this section, it's a good section for it as well. Professional, legal, financial advice, don't worry about unless you need to hire a lawyer, in which case you would put that there. And then any other services you can think about, that's where you'd put it. Then you'd hit next. So we're almost there. We're on the last kind of step of our budget, the give it away expenses. So is your mother going to get flowers on Mother's Day? Will your brother get a birthday present? Things like that. Valentine's Day, if you have a girlfriend, very important. Don't forget that one. So total gifts, holiday, birthday special. Remember, this is Christmas as well. So generally, and this is not unreasonable, to spend over the entire year about $500 on gifts and presents, and you have to think about every time you do it, you're spending about $20 to $30, and you have a whole bunch of birthdays each year. You have Christmas. This is fairly average. If you feel like you don't spend that much, by all means, put less. Donations, so charitable donations, you could give to the Salvation Army at Christmas, things like that. It's about $100 a year on average is what people spend on charitable donations. You could spend more, you could spend less. As a student, you probably won't spend that much. If you have a pet, I don't, so I'm going to leave these blank. But vet expenses, pet food, others, they can add up as well. And so we're just going to hit next. And now this is our budget. So, which is really, really telling, because we make $18,000 a year, but we're spending $35,000 a year, and this is just $35,000 a year on almost necessities. Like we weren't extravagant by any means in a lot of places. We were very realistic. So you can really see that this $18,000 is below that $20,000 poverty line, and we can cut back on certain things, but this is very eye-opening for a lot of people. So the next step we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to submit this once you've finished it. Okay, so we've just finished our budget, and now we need to submit it, and we need to create that report. So we're here on our workbook. We're going to hit the over button. We're going to hit it, and it's going to take us to our assignment. We're going to click on our assignment, and it says once you've completed your budget, click on the Create a Report button on the bottom right-hand side of the page. So you click on this Create a Report button, and sometimes it takes forever to load, and if that's the case and it's not working, this printer-friendly version works just as well. So you hit the Create a Report, and it looks like this, our report. So what we're going to do now is we're going to right-click on it, and we're going to hit Print. And now your print destination, I want you to select the Save as PDF option, and then you're just going to hit Save. You're going to put it in your Planning 10 folder. I've already done this, so I'm just going to do it again. And now we're going to go back to our assignment, and we're going to hit Add Submission. And remember, it says finally add a short paragraph response in regards to your budget. Did anything surprise you? Were you incorporating mainly needs, or were you including some wants as well? Do you see a value in creating a budget? You're going to put this in the online text. You're going to put a full paragraph in here for what you want, or for your reflection on your budget. And that's kind of what we already talked about. Like, it's pretty amazing that a person working full-time makes $18,000 a year, and that with no real extravagance, the average person spends about $35,000 a year, and it's pretty interesting when you look at the different spending and things like that, and like how much each thing is. So for example, housing was 72% of our total budget. So these are the kind of things that you want to put into your reflection. But anyway, you're adding your file submission, choosing your file, the budget calculator PDF. You're going to upload this file as a PDF, and you're going to put in your paragraph, and you're going to hit Save Changes. Now if you look, it says submitted for grading. It's that light green color, it's not the dark green color, so you know that you have finished the assignment. Congratulations, that was a long one.